Good morning, everyone, or afternoon if you're back east, because it's before noon here for another 2 minutes. All righty, let's see who else here. First of all, I need to throw back up the banner down here, and there we go. So yes, I'm going to be proofreading novels in the Against the Wind Saga, which includes currently is the one we're working on today is Blood Moon Falling. And it is referenced in most of these novels as a standalone one in their universe. It's not our novel about them. It's a novel in theirs about other people. So, and let's see, I also need to go ahead and throw this up. And let's see who else here. Go to comments. Boom, boom. First one in was Phalen Clan Wolf, and he claimed the trophy. Next in was Crew 1351, and they're all out there. And yeah, and oh, okay. And so the question, Crew's asking Phalen the question, is MD with him? And he said, yeah, she just walked in with pizza. Okay. Oh. All righty. So let's switch up things up. Hang on, I do one thing before I switch it up here. Yeah. So we yesterday we read completed chapter 1, started on chapter 2 a little bit, and so we're just barely in the chapter 2, so that's where we're starting up today. Hopefully we'll get all of chapter 2 done. And so let's bring shift there. There we go. And I'm just checking something here before we get going. All right. So background, Danny's been sick the last several days. Oliver spent the night last night. Danny spent the 2 nights before that, and he was really kind of snotting everywhere and stuff. And so, yeah, he gave me whatever he had. That's why I'm coughing. All right, so let's take out the highlight, which is to remind me where I'm at. Come on. No color. There we go. All right, when Phalen and Jenny arrived at Costco, it didn't look any more packed than normal. They found a space up close fairly quickly, and as they were going in, they saw Mike coming out with 2 carts of toilet paper, rice, and beans, and a few other items. They quickly stopped and exchanged notes. Phalen said they did good and to hit smart and final after they unloaded at home and get number 10 cans get number 10 cans of items on the storage list. There we go. Inside, Phalen and Jenny split up and headed to different aisles, each with a big cart. Loaded up with 2 levels of toilet paper, 2 cases of butter, 3 cases of peanut butter, and headed to the pharmacy aisle for vitamins and other dietary supplements. Then then hygiene supplies for women and shampoo for both. Phalen grabbed 8 cases of the Kirkland 5-pound hamburger chubs. Hamburger chubs. He was glad he had almost emptied the chest freezer in the garage by taking most of the supplies up to the cabin. And filling those chest, F-R-E-E-Z, filling those chest freezers. Next, he grabbed 6 cases of frozen chicken breast, and then he went to the baking aisle and loaded 10 cases of grape jelly and 10 cases of strawberry jam, 6 cases of maple syrup, and 4 cases of crusty pancake mix, and 4 cases of cornbread mix. He met Jenny at the food court, and she had her cart topped off with cases of okay, hang on. I need to redo hers because when I wrote this, I went through it too fast. Hey, Myra Page, how's it going? Let me get this in here. I got to redo this. I got to work on redoing this one here. All right. No. All right. So, hang on. She put on the bottom, she had toilet paper on the bottom. Toilet paper on the bottom. So I need to put that down over here. There we go. Already got the bottom. Okay, so that actually I don't. I'm just going to take that out. Going to take out the fruit. 2 cases of soups, spaghetti sauces, brick cheese, sorted pasta. Okay, hey, what's going on outside? I hear something going on outside. I'll be right It's just Amazon making a delivery. So got that. All right. Just gonna work hers out right. 6, 10 pound. No, I'm gonna do it the other way around. Go ahead, mate. 6, 10 pound brick cheese. Cheese bricks. There we go. That sounds better. 2 cases of soup. 2 cases of soups. 2 of spaghetti sauce. 'There we go. Now hers looks a little bit. All right. Yeah. There we go. All right. Uh, uh, P H. Phalen met Jenny at the food court. She had her cart topped off with 2 cases of soups, 2 of spaghetti sauces. Let me put a S on that in the end. Sauces. 6 10-pound cheese bricks. Actually, it's not 10 pounds. Those are 5-pound ones. Assorted boxes of pasta. 2 25-pound bags of cane sugar. Seeing what she'd bought, he smiled and they went outside together. The parking lot was filling up with cars stopped in aisles waiting for others to leave. Phalen and Jenny quickly unloaded their carts into the back of the Dodge and locked the door. They climbed in and eased out of the parking lot, and as they were pulling away, a fight broke out over their vacated space. That's not a good sign, Jenny said more than asked. Hang on a second here. Yes, Oliver?
Jenny puked on the couch.
Okay. I got a little problem in the living room there. I'll be right back. Evidently, Danny puked on the couch and didn't use the bucket like I put it there for him because he was sick. He was okay today, but last night he was sick. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Ugh. Yeah, told him to keep the. I have an empty ice cream bucket. I gave it to him. I said, "Keep this with you," because he was eating a little bit more than I thought he should have, and sure enough, he threw up. But he didn't leave that. Didn't even get the bucket after I put it down. Didn't even have it with him. Anyways, all righty. All right, let's see. So, she said, "That's not a good sign, is it?" Jenny said more than asked. "No, it's not." He shook his head. "We're going to my house and unload this stuff and listen to the president's address. Then we'll decide what to do next." After a minute of silence, Jenny broke it nervously. "Phalen, I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came to your birthday party. I'm glad I came to your birthday party. So am I. This isn't exactly what you expected for your birthday, huh?" "Close. My birthdays have always had a disaster of sorts happen. Flat tires, broken water lines, but nothing like this." Hang on. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. 3. Get these things fixed here first, real quick. All right. Now I can read through it. "Close. My birthday's always been a disaster. Flat tires, broken water lines, but nothing like this." And there we go. I'm not usually this forward, but like you said at Fuddruckers, there is some connection I feel with you. And uh, um, Phelan reached over and squeezed her hand. "I have a feeling we're both unsure of what to do and how to express what we're feeling. I want to be with you, not to have sex with you yet, but just to be with you. I feel more at ease in the last couple hours than I have in a long time, a long while. Planetoid coming at us or not." Yeah, I'm surprised that neither one of us is being affected by our phobias. Usually, I get really tense and nervous in Costco with that many people in there. It must be the adrenaline. Hang on, he said as he turned a tight corner and downshifted the Dodge 110. "Girl handles good." Yeah, she's got an overbuilt 318 with a 5-speed main, 2-speed high-low transfer, and a 3-speed Brownie. She can redline at 1.5 miles an hour or at 105 miles an hour. She has Warren brand hubs and PTO winch. There's a 22-gallon tank behind the seat and two 75-gallon tanks. Oh, someone came in and jumped right out. KP Heathen's here. And 275-gallon custom-made tanks underneath the NA2 and a and two 75-gallon custom-made tanks under the bed. She gets 25 miles. Oh, she gets. What do you need, Oliver?
The treadmill was about to explode.
All right, hang on a minute, guys. I'll be back in a minute here. All right. Yeah, the grandkids like to play with the Duplo blocks around the treadmill and put them up, and they get kicked up underneath of it. And so, yeah, I got to go in there later and tear it apart again. They got one inside the belt on the treadmill. All right. Let's see here. Now she gets 12 miles to the gallon pulling a fully loaded trailer. My little Toyota Highlander needs to grow up, but it is easier to park. True, but it can't pull worth squat, Jenny grumbled. But you could get better gas mileage. But I'll have to leave most of my supplies behind. I don't know what to tell you now. Hang on. Come on. Maybe I need to get one of those military surplus trucks, Jenny said quietly as she mused over the advantages and disadvantages in her mind. We'll see later tonight. 10 minutes later, they arrived on the street where Phalen lived. Just a couple more blocks and we're home. Home, Jenny whispered to her, whispered and smiled to herself. All right, still chapter 2, October 3rd evening. A half minute later, they were coming up on Phalen's uncle's house, and Jenny gasped, "Holy mackerel, what is that?" She pointed to the 6x6 crew cab truck that looked like it belonged in a Mad Max movie. Phalen smiled. "My birthday present. It's a Plan B Ranger 2. He reached up the button on the garage door remote control, and the double wide garage door opened up. He pulled alongside the 6x6, the big 6x6, and then back into the driveway and back into the garage next to the Humvee painted in desert camo. And you have a Hummer too, Humvee. And I'll tow your Highlander to the cabin. What? Hang on a second here. And well, if things get to be as bad as I think, I want you at the cabin until things get back to normal as they can, and it's safe for you to come back to the city, Phalen said as he stared at her. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me in a long time, Jenny choked out, her eyes starting to tear up. Phalen saw that and turned away so he wouldn't embarrass her, and opened the door to get out when she yanked him back over to her and threw a bear hug on him. Thank you so much. It may be your birthday, but that's the best present I've gotten in years. After about 30 seconds, she released him from the hug and pulled back a little from him, but still their faces were only inches apart. Was all Phalen could get out as he took in every part of her face. Then he suddenly pulled her to him and kissed her deeply. After a few seconds, she opened her mouth a little and slipped her tongue out past his lips. He responded likewise, and the kiss turned deeper and more passionate. Several minutes later, they broke the kiss. They were both breathing hard and were flushed red. Okay, hang on. I got to fix all these little things here. All right. I got to cheat. There's too many of these in here. Control F. replace that with replace all. Boom. 142 of those made. Okay. All done. All right. Close. There we go. And now it means I just got to make a couple little sentence ending correct. Okay. Wow. Wow. I was all they could say. I agree. Do you, hang on here. No, hang on. I want to do comma, space, delete. I agree. Do you believe in? Hang on. Now let me go take it this way here. Was all she could say. Let me fix this up and do this here. I was reading something wrong there, so I need to go that there. I agree. Do you believe in love at first sight? She finished this question. Not until today. She panted as she tried to control her breathing. Phalen opened his mouth to say something when they were suddenly caught in bright headlights of a pickup pulling up into the driveway. Jenny quickly flopped back over to the passenger seat, and Phalen slipped out of the open door of the truck. Sorry to interrupt, guys, but I have a load of supplies for the lake, Gary said as he walked around the front of his pickup. I was able to beat the crowd into Sam's and got 3 cartloads before they realized that I was cleaning them out. So they tried to limit me on the 4th. So they let me have it before the crowds hit the place. All right, let's get you turned around so you can back into the Hummer spot after I pull it out. Phalen smiled ear to ear. Sounds good. Jenny walked up. Hi, I'm Jenny. She stuck her hand out. Hi, Jenny, I'm Gary. He took her hand and gave it a firm but gentle handshake. Who's in the truck? Phalen asked cautiously because of how young the girl looked. Gary started. Hold on to your hat, buddy. That's my daughter. Phalen blinked and shook his head quickly. When were you going to tell us that you had a daughter? I didn't expect her mom to let me have her. She's always kept me from taking her on visitation days. Yeah, she said you were a... Hang on. Yeah, she said you were a horn dog womanizer, the girl shouted from the cab of the truck. That's why she wouldn't let me go with you. So now the world's ending, she dumps me on you. The anger dropped like acid in her voice. Jenny went around to the passenger door and held out a hand. Hi, I'm Jenny. Hi, I'm Lisa. You part of Dad's survival group? She said as she rolled her eyes. I hope so. Phalen and I just met today at his birthday party. Lisa gave her a quizzical look. Why would you want to be part of a bunch of crazies? Why do you think they're crazies? Mom says that anyone who owns a bunch of guns and runs around in camo outfits waiting for the end of the world is nuts. And now that a planetoid is heading towards the Earth, Lisa frowned and thought about what Jenny said. Sorry, about what Jenny asked. Let me change that to ask. Well, maybe they're not so crazy. No, I'm going to put a comma in there, comma. They're probably not. Jenny smiled as she opened the door. Just because someone is paranoid doesn't mean that no one is out to get, doesn't mean that no one is after them. And just because someone prepares for a disaster doesn't mean they want them to happen. I guess you're right about that. Well, Lisa, how old are you? 15 and a half, she replied defiantly. Cool. Has your mom ever allowed you to go to a shooting range? No way. She thinks guns are for macho bonehead wackos. Really? Hang on, let me switch that around here. Really? Jenny said with a sly smile. Why don't you come with me while your father and Phalen move the trucks around? Sure, why not, she said, exasperatedly, and slid out of the truck and followed Jenny into the garage to the back seat of the one-ton. Phalen, where do you want us to put the ammo and stuff? Jenny asked him as he unlocked the Humvee to pull it out of the garage. On the dining room table, spread out one of those moving blankets first, please, he said, and pointed to a pile of blue moving pads on one of the workbenches in the back of the garage. You got it, she said, as she opened up the Dodge. Jenny pulled out several long boxes from the floor in the back seat and handed to Lisa. Can you carry these for me? Are these guns? She practically squealed. Yes, they are. And if you come with us to the crazy person cabin, I'll teach you how to shoot them. Really? Lisa asked excitedly. You mean it? You're not just teasing me, are you? I mean it. And if your father's okay with it, I'll let you have one. Oh my God, really? We'll talk to him after we get the trucks unloaded, okay? Wow, yes. Give me a couple more to carry. Easy does it. You don't want to drop any. They're very expensive. Okay, I'm just so excited. My friends at school get to go shooting all the time, but my mom won't let me. And now I'm holding guns. So you don't think they're just for macho boneheads? No, Lisa looked down like she was caught in a lie. That's what my mom says. She can be a real city prude about a lot of stuff, like camping. Oh, wow, yes. Fancy RV with hot showers and a microwave and a TV. She rolled her eyes and her head. So is your father really a horn dog and womanizer? Jenny asked carefully as they walked in the house. As they entered the house. Then she spread a blanket out on the table and started taking items from Lisa and putting them on the table. Lisa cocked her head slightly as she thought about what Jenny asked her. Maybe, she said as she started walking, and maybe not, I don't know. He has dated a lot of women, but I think he's afraid to commit after what happened with Mom and him. He tries to do what's right for me, but Mom always criticizes everything he does. It just doesn't make sense to me. I would like to know why she hates him so. They were in love at one time, but something happened. Hang on, let me double check that, make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, everything's right. Okay, yeah. Well, sometimes people do something stupid and it really pisses the other off so bad they won't listen to the explanation or forgive them. She led Lisa back out to the truck. My mom kicked my dad out when she caught him in bed with her younger cousin. She was just 18 and Mom was so pissed off at him she wouldn't take any of his phone calls for months. After a while, he stopped calling. He stopped calling, sent over enrollment papers, and moved away. Then several years later, my mom found out that her cousin had drugged him and seduced him, Jenny sighed. My mom told my grandmother that that she'd been a fool and tried to find him but couldn't. Later, she found out that he had remarried and had a set of twins. She didn't want to cause him any more heartache, so she just dropped it. At least that's what my grandma told me. How old were you when they broke up? Lisa asked, and when they headed back into the garage. 6 months old. I never really met my dad. Wow, that's harsh. Has your mom told you where he lives? No. I need to change something in here. Five. Okay, I'm on page 25, so I need to do a little quick search here to fix something else earlier. Results. Okay, let's go. Yeah, that was it. Five. All right. Five. All right. Got that fixed. No, she died when I was 5, and Grandma gave my uncle all the files she had on him so I wouldn't find them. He was supposed to give them to me when I turned 21, but his house had a roof leak and the water destroyed them. Geez, that's really harsh. I'm so sorry. I guess I don't have it so bad after all. Here, take these. Jenny handed Lisa a couple big boxes with boxes of ammo in it. Have you talked to your dad about it? Lisa grunted as she took the heavy boxes. No, Mom wouldn't let me be alone with him. Wouldn't let him be alone with me when he visited. She's not here now. Lisa's eyes lit up and a big smile flashed across her face. Yeah. But I'll have to wait until we get the trucks unloaded. Okay. It sucks that it takes the end of the world for me to get some alone time with my dad. As they carried the load into the house, Jenny glanced back and saw Gary and Phalen standing there staring at her. Gary mouthed, "Thank you," at her, and Phalen had a big old smile on his face. They finished unloading the trucks while Gary pulled. They finished unloading the trucks, and Gary was pulling his truck out when 2 more trucks pulled up. The first one, a Chevy C4500 4x4, was pulling a 24-foot 3-axle trailer. When Gary was clear of the driveway, the truck with the trailer pulled out and around the big 6x6 Ranger 2 and backed the trailer into the space where Gary's truck was. Phalen pulled the Dodge out, and another truck, a 4x4 Ford F-350. Hang on, it's supposed to have a hyphen in it. There we go. F-350 Super Duty with Bel Air C9 camper shell on it back into that spot. The trailer was disconnected, and the garage. It was disconnected in the garage from the Chevy C4500, which pulled forward and parked just outside the door. With more hands available, the Ford F-350 was unloaded in a couple minutes and pulled out and parked on the street. After it was out, Phalen parked the Humvee inside and closed the garage door and parked the Power Wagon in front of the double wide door. Next, he moved the Ranger 2 into the yard beside the garage. The driver of the F-315 was Mark Chisholm. Although the truck when Jenny and Lisa were introduced to everyone, the driver of the F-350 was Mark Chisholm, although the truck belonged to his brother Mike. Hang on here. Okay, that was a 4,500. Let me look back up here and see what I got to correct here. Hang on, I got to straighten out what I got going here. Okay. There we go. I'll make it. All right. Hang on, I need to change some things around on it to make it work more right. Okay. Okay, yeah. Hang on, you check to see what it says up here. Hang on. Okay, never say what type. Never say what type truck Gary has yet. All right. Hang on, let me get down here. All right, I got to look something up here, so hang tight here for a second, and let me see if I can figure this out here. So I got to go to this one here. And open this up. And then go ahead and drop that down. Okay, that gets mentioned later. I got to do a search on the document here. Okay, so I got to fix that. All right, hang on. That was the typo in here. The main data has it corrected. So, all right, drop that down. Go up here. So I need to fix this thing here. And take that out as well. There we go. So this is a 5500. Change that. Right? Or hang on. No, it's the other way around. You change that the other way around. That. In here, this down here. This is the one I got to change. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Hang on. I hear noise. I got to go check something out. Okay, got that taken care of. All right. Yeah, so I got 3 grandkids over here right now. They started to head into the house when a horn honk caught their attention. Coming up the street was a Chevy Suburban pulling a 16-foot 2-axle trailer. It was followed by a Cadillac Escalade. Phalen quickly ran over and opened the door for the 3rd stall of the garage. They guided a Suburban back and parked. And they guided the Suburban back up the driveway. And parked the 2-axle trailer in the stall. Once it was in and disconnected, they closed that door. Everyone else quickly unloaded the Escalade, and Phalen locked all the garage doors with padlocks on the outside and inside, and made the comment, "Just because I'm acting paranoid doesn't mean someone won't try to steal our stuff." Lisa had found the notebook in the house while she and Jenny were carrying the firearms and ammunition in. Jenny suggested she used it to count all the supplies that everyone brought into the garage. She got the receipts, and Phalen told her where his copier was at. She made copies so that she had lists of all the items that were in the trailers, which had been purchased that day. She also copied the list of the items that were already in the trailers. From the owners of the trailers. Some more introductions were made. Bill and Patricia Parker were in the Suburban, and the owner of Desert Construction, Maxwell Young, was in the Escalade. Then everybody went inside to listen to the president's address. Chairs were pulled from. Listen, I got the grandkids outside playing, so I'm just listening to make sure that those are shouts of joy and not screams of pain. All right. Chairs were pulled from the dining room and game room into the living room. When everyone was seated, the TV was turned on and muted until the president spoke. Phalen stood in front of the TV that was over the fireplace and greeted everybody again and thanked them for their quick response. We have about 5 minutes before the president is supposed to speak on the planetoid and give us what will most likely be a smiley whitewash of what's going to happen. In the meantime, Mike, do you have any information on your grandparents? Yes, I do, Mike said, relief in his voice. I was able to get hold of them on the drive here. The Starlink system is working, and the sat phone works outside, not in the house. The landline and fiber optic internet is still working. They're doing fine, and it's my parents' weekend to be there with them. The garden is doing well, and they've planted some cold weather vegetables. And everyone wishes you a happy birthday and sorry they missed the party. Everyone voiced their gladness at that news. Mike continued. Doug, Betty, and Donnie left Las Vegas. He checked his watch. 20 minutes ago, are en route to the lake with Doug's RV, and it's full. More happy comments. And the trailer, it's pulling. Even more cheers. Phalen turned to Bill and Patricia, nodded for them to make their report. Dr. Jones and his wife are ready to caravan to the lake whenever you give the word, Bill said. Louis and Cecilia are ready to load up at a moment's notice. Oh, they would like a couple hours to let the ovens cool before we yank them out. But the flour trailer is full and ready to be unhooked from the bakery and can be ready for the road in less than 5 minutes. We just need to get a truck to pull it. Patricia continued to report. Dr. Franks and his family will head up as soon as we give the word. Last week, he finished setting up the single-wide modular next to the community center barn. And hang on. Got to figure this one out here. Look at it. Oh, someone else just came in. Hi. And the row. Hey, got it. PR. And the propane generator works and it can power both modulars and the X-ray unit just fine. So if main power goes out, medical is covered. The Millers finished setting up their double wide Wednesday, and it's hooked up to the utilities. The Horns, Abbotts, and Smiths are ready to caravan as well. They want to use their travel trailer spots as well, since we still have a few open spots. Good, Phalen said. Max, how's the job standing? Actually, I'm feeling much better about this now than I was yesterday. We have all but 2 jobs that'll be wrapped up by next Friday, and the other 2 will be done in 3 weeks. But we have 4 contracts that would have to. But we do have 4 contracts that would have to start in 6 to 7 weeks if things don't go completely sideways with the planetoid. I was going to have to figure out who is going to lay off on Friday. I think you can count on everyone here to take the layoff, Gary said. That'll give us more time to get the lake ready. Good, Max sighed. I'll talk to the others tomorrow and Monday. However, Gary, I was going to have you run a couple of the fuel tanks on skids up there tomorrow and get Stephen to top them off on Monday after the layoffs. That way we can write it off as winter storage of equipment. Great. Mark, are you going to be able to join us? Phalen asked. I don't think I should, he smiled. Mr. Davies just promoted me and put me in charge of the West Line Shack. Eddie and I will be the only ones up all winter. The others will come down just before Christmas, if they stay even that long. If they stay that long, given what's going on. That's the shack that's just over the crest line from the lake. Max asked. Yep. We have to watch all that beef, Mark said with feigned dejectedness, and everyone chuckled. And keep undesirables from getting it. Everyone chuckled again. Hang on. Okay, then. Phalen continued. I spoke with Dave, and he said that Robert was supposed to head up to the lake yesterday with another cargo container, but wasn't sure if he'd be back tonight. Mick was picking up a truck in Provo and said he should be back there tomorrow. What truck is he getting? Bill asked. Phalen looked around the group and stopped at Max and smiled. An 8x8 heavy hauler conversion, whatever that means. Max smiled and shook his head. Gary laughed. He finally got it. You go and buy your 6x6 Ranger 2, and he has to get an 8x8. Yeah, well, Dave anyways, Dave will call for a cargo haul tomorrow or Monday if it looks like we need to get the gun shop moved. Matthew is on his way over to spend the night there with Dave. That sounds a little ominous, but I think most people won't freak out until they hear what the president will be saying, what the president will be selling tonight. Mark quipped. Call me if he needs help sooner than Wednesday. That's when I have to head to the ranch. You got it. Now about tonight's supplies. Lisa, will you tell what we gathered? No, she pointed to the TV the president's on. Phalen turned around and unmuted the TV. Thanks, Lisa. All right. Sorry, I hate eating my breakfast. The president's address. Hang on. I got to set this. So I got to go here and go. Too much. Three's that. 4. All right, so I've got the 4 heading on it already. Okay, never mind. Let me go ahead and collapse that. I want to check this out here. That's why. It collapsed the side thing, so. The president was shaking hands as he walked up the podium and passed it to make sure he shook everyone's hand. He was smiling broadly and acting as if he just became a father. He returned to the podium and waved and nodded at the press corps, smiling even broader than before. Finally, motion with both hands for everyone to be seated. He reached into his coat breast pocket and made the show of pulling one sheet of paper that was only half filled with very large type and spread it on the podium. Hang on. Okay, and this is one that was a different one. I'm grateful to be here. No, that's not right. I'm happy to be here with good news and to lay to rest the rumors that are flying across the internet and airwaves. Let me make this very clear. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. There we go. The planetoid will not, I repeat, not hit the Earth. It appears it may not even come close to being within the distance of the moon's orbit. The press corps let out a collective sigh, and the president's staff on the dais smiled. We will keep the American people up to date as to the planetoid's trajectory daily at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. It has been suggested by some members of this administration that I should order Homeland Security to shut down any website that is proclaiming that the planetoid will hit the Earth or Moon. He paused for dramatic effect and said loudly, "I will not do that." Then he chuckled. "I will leave them up because of the matter of free speech, but more so because I read them when I need a good laugh at something silly, and some of them are pretty silly." The press corps laughed, and the president's staff on the dais made a smile and nodded as if they did what the president. Hang on. Hang on. I know what's saying that I need to clear. Oh, great. That sounds like screaming outside. Let me go take a look outside and see what's going on out there. Dang it. I wish they'd. All right, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sometimes I don't know what to do with grandkids. Let me get this fixed. As if they read them as the president said he did. Don't need that as well in there. After several seconds, the president stopped smiling and grabbed the podium in both hands. What I will not allow, though, is for unscrupulous merchants to reap unearned profits from those of our citizens who do believe that these are the end of the days. He held up his left hand as if to say, stop. Which I assure you they are not. I hereby declare all prices to be frozen. This means all gas prices. This means all prices. Gasoline, food, clothing, water, everything for the next 4 weeks. Businesses are to open for their normal business hours. Schools are to remain open for normal hours. I'm asking Congress for special temporary legislation to suspend the rights of looters and rioters for the duration of this event. I will not stand for anyone using this as an excuse to run wild and hurt the innocent citizens of our country. NASA says they will need until tomorrow to get a proper track on the planetoid's path and then by the Earth. So at noon tomorrow, NASA will release the first official trajectory of the planetoid, which, as I said earlier, will be updated at 8 o'clock every evening. He held up his right index finger. Now, I would love to be able to say, I would love to be able to answer all your questions, but I've already given you all that I know at this time. Thank you. He nodded and quickly left the room, followed by his staff. Well, that was a load of crock, Max said as the president and his staff were leaving. Phalen, can you rewind that? I noticed several things that gave his story away. Phalen rewound it back to the beginning and played it again. Now watch his left hand when he says that the planetoid won't even come close as the moon's orbit. Watch that twitch. See? Now watch the hand when he talks about not shutting down the website, websites. See it there. There's the twitch again. Now watch it when he says temporary legislation. Wow, Jenny exclaimed. It really jumped when he said temporary. Yeah, he means to make it permanent or as permanent as he can, Max explained. I made some of my best deals reading others during contract negotiations. And I tell you, he's lying something fierce. Either he knows nothing at all, or he knows it's going to be very bad. I think he knows nothing. He's just trying to keep everyone from panicking, Lisa said. Ow. Get my water up here. Get that. There we go. What makes you say that? Gary asked his daughter with real interest. She started feeling the pressure of everybody to look at her. Rewind it again and watch the hair above his left ear. The muscles under his scalp are twitching there too, but more often. He's learning to control the hand, but not the muscles under his scalp. That's why he wears his hair so fluffed out, trying to hide it. Where'd you learn that from? Gary asked in total surprise. From my sociology teacher. That's how I know Mom's been lying to me most of the time about her boyfriends. After another replay, Phalen said, okay, as he shut the TV off. We agreed that the president isn't telling us the truth and things can get very bad. Everyone agreed with nods or verbalizations. Jenny held up her hand to get Phalen's attention. When he nodded, she spoke. Not when he nodded to her, she spoke carefully. I'm going to put a comma there. You all know that I'm new to this group, and I gather from various conversations there's a place at a lake that everyone's planning to going to. I'm more than willing to contribute everything I can. But Gary asked, but what is the end game? What are the options, and what are the options to get there? She asked, a little confused. I mean, I know survival is the end result, but what are the plans once everyone gets to the lake? How many cabins are there? How does everyone have a house, or are most bring in an RV or travel trailer? Or are we setting up a tent city? Gary spoke up. Jenny, there are 18 small homes in place. They are short, 30-foot, double-wide modular homes that the owners have put up front 50% of the cost to have one, and have been making payments on them. Some of them have full basements. There are 48. Hang on, I gotta check this because I think that. Hang on a second while I pull up the spreadsheet on it. Dang it. Okay. Let's see. Got to scan through my spreadsheet here. Well, you know what? I'm going to let you guys see this. Let me get it over here. Okay, hang on. Got to shrink it down so it fits right. There we go. All right, so I got all the people in the novel here listed on the right hand side here. Actually, so let me scroll on down through here and get down to the properties here, or the trailers. Randall, that page. So there are 42, at least 42 spots available for trailers and RVs. Okay, yeah. All right, so I did update this to the proper number. So there are 48 RV. So Gary says there are 48 RV slash trailer pads with hookups. 33 of them have been paid for. The ranch house where Mike's parents, grandparents, and the rest of his clan will stay. The ranch house is where Mike's parents, grandparents, and the rest of his clan will stay. There are 2 medical modulars, 1 single wide for our dentist, 1 double wide for doctor visits with medical emergencies and medical emergencies and childbirth. There are 3 big barns, several old bunkhouses, a large chicken house, and run several 20-foot cargo containers for storage at the main house area. There are others, smaller barns around the property, as well as 2 by the not used bunkhouses. Gary got a big grin on his face. Then there's Phalen's cabin up in the trees that overlooks his 2,500 acre kingdom, where you'll be staying in his 4,800 square foot 4-story cabin mansion. It comes with a back door that goes to a 350,000 square foot underground mine. Jenny's mouth dropped open and her eyes looked like they're about ready to fall out of their sockets. Hang on a second here. Somebody's about ready to get their butt kicked. She sputtered. She sputtered as she stared first at Phalen. She stared at Phalen, and finally got over the shock and called him what he said about at Fed Records. A little over 22 acres. Okay, I dropped a couple zeros off. I didn't want to flash my wealth in front of you. I wanted you to see me for me, not what I inherited. I chose to build my cabin away from the rest of the land for reasons we share, and others I'll tell you about later. He hunched his shoulders. I was going to tell you about the property before we got there, but somebody couldn't keep his mouth shut. Ow! Gary suddenly yelled and grabbed his shin. Dad, you of all people should know better than that, Lisa yelled at him, and then she kicked him in his other shin too. Then she turned and went over to Jenny and gave her a hug. Is there something we're missing? Patricia asked, very confused look on her face. Yeah, I know there's something. I know something is missing, Pauline added. Phalen looked over at Jenny and she gave him a nod. He moved over to her and wrapped his arm around her waist and pulled her close. Patricia, Bill, he began as he blushed a little. I would like to thank the two of you for bringing me my best birthday present ever. I didn't think I could find a soulmate. Her arms around Phalen, rested her head on his shoulder, on his chest. Yeah, thanks guys for bringing me, even though it's for the wrong guy. Fortunately, I found the right one. I just thought you needed a really outgoing guide, Patricia answered mousy like. I didn't think you want someone. Hang on here. Uh-oh. Someone with the same phobias, Jenny and Phalen said at the same time and laughed. As for the end game, Phalen said to Jenny, it is not just to survive, but to thrive. Phalen looked at Lisa. Lisa, you were going to give us an accounting of what we collected tonight? Lisa hurried back to her notebook she left on her chair. Picking it up, she flipped to the page where she had final tallies. Well, there are some generalizations here, most notably rice. We have several different types, but I grouped them all together. So this is what we have here. Rice, 82 50-pound bags. Beans, 63 50-pound bags. Flour, 15 25-pound bags. Sugar, 34 25-pound bags. Potato flakes. Hang on here. Several minutes later, she finished reading the list. This was a quick counting, and I may have made a few mistakes, but that's the gist of what was picked up tonight. She took a deep breath and held it for several seconds before continuing. I know that I don't know much about this stuff, but with all the names that were mentioned, unless they did the same thing tonight, we're going to need a whole lot more food and other supplies. We have a lot of food in storage at the lake already, Max spoke first. But what other supplies are you thinking of? Well, pharmacy type stuff, for example, like vitamins and other supplements, first aid kit supplies, then hygiene products for women and guys. Oh, wrong button. This one fixed. Shampoos, deodorant, toothpaste, sunblock, birth control. Oh, wrong way. What? Gary shouted. Yeah, giving her dad don't be dumb. Giving her daddy don't be dumb look. I'm sure Phalen and Jenny don't want to start having babies right away. Anyway, speaking of babies, cloth diapers, baby powder, baby clothes, heck, adult and baby clothes, books, don't forget videos and music. Hey, a 15 and a half year old girl, a 15 and a half year old girl does not live by food alone. What did I? Oh, that's why. There we go. Get that corrections done. Where are we at here? Okay, that point. There are some good points in there, Max said thoughtfully. Can you type up that list and anything else you can think of that we might need to get and have your dad email it to us? Sure thing. Just one big question. How long are you looking at us being there? It could be anywhere from a month or two to well, your grandkids will be born there. Lisa paled. That long? Could be. Then I have a big item for the to get list. What's that? A husband. She looked as she held up a ring finger. Everyone broke up laughing except for Gary, who was sputtering protest. You're only 15, he got out. Time to find me a good one I can train. Ooh, ow. My shoulder muscle just started spasming. Sorry, guys. Dr. Jones studied the computer printouts from the Mauna Kea Observatory on the summit of Mauna Kea on the Big Island of Hawaii. It was almost 7 p.m., and the rotation of the Earth had just allowed them to start getting more photographs of the planetoid. They had been analyzing the photographs from the night before, and were going through all of the file photographs of that section of the sky, trying to plot the planetoid's course and where it came from. They were able to backtrack it in bits and pieces. This was due to the fact that the trajectory was flat with the orbits of the other planets, most notably Mars and Jupiter. The first photograph they were able to find the planetoid on so far was as it appeared from behind Jupiter. It was only partially visible because of the asteroid belt. They lost it a couple times in the photo, and they lost it a couple times. Sorry, they lost it in a couple of the photographs, but it would appear in another later. Then disappeared as it passed behind Mars. His team had just confirmed that it had changed its trajectory when it passed Jupiter, and would likely do so when it passed by Mars. Its original trajectory would have taken it through the solar system, never getting any closer than the orbital pass of Mars, but Jupiter's gravity had grabbed it and pulled it in towards the sun via conjunctional passes with Mars, Earth, Mercury, and the sun. The only good thing about this new trajectory is that the planetoid's time in the asteroid belt was cut from months to weeks. So the number of collisions with asteroids was less than 1/20th what it would have been. The bad part was that the asteroids it did collide with had a higher probability of heading towards the Earth. As such, even if the planetoid passed beyond the moon's orbit, some of the asteroids it had collided with would most likely hit the Earth. Jason Omni came up to Dr. Jones and handed him some more printouts. We think we may have found it before it went behind Jupiter. Finally, a break. Let's have a look-see. It was a little after 10 o'clock, and Matthew sat at the desk in the little office by the back door playing Minecraft on his laptop, while Dave and Robert were setting up cots in the storeroom. Above him on the wall was a monitor for the CCTV cameras, 3 of which were covering the alleyway behind the gun store. Some motion on one of the cameras drew his attention right away from the game and to the monitor. A U-Haul van with its lights off was creeping down the alleyway towards the back door of the store. Matthew smiled and reached over to the switch for the floodlight over the back door of the store. He waited until it stopped just after it passed the back door, and he continued to wait until the occupants felt it was safe to get out of the van. As they walked around to the back of the van, Matthew got ready, and when they opened the back roll door of the van, he turned on the lights. And when they looked up into the light and the camera, he keyed the microphone for the PA speaker above the door. Smile, you're on YouTube. The three would-be burglars scrambled like cockroaches, tripping over each other to get back into the van. The driver got in first, started the van, and dropped it in gear before the last one was able to get in. The van raced down the alleyway with the unlucky burglar hanging on the door, on the swaying door, trying to climb it enough to get a foot into the van. Matthew was busted up laughing so loud his dad and Dave came running into the office to see what was going on. "What's up?" Dave said, looking around on high alert. Matthew composed himself enough to replay the video of the van and its occupants. Dave shook his head. "Too bad he didn't fall off and get run over. Then we'd have a body for the police." "Can you put this on YouTube?" Dave, hang on a second here. Ow. Asked Dave. "Sure, that's easy. Do it. And send the link to the police," Robert snickered. "That way they have the video and they just might be able to look for the van. Make sure you post all of the camera views. One of them has a pretty good shot of the license plate and the U-Haul truck number," Dave added. "Dave, do you have a PA out front?" Robert asked. "No, I don't. I never thought that I would need it." "Well, we may not. I just hope that someone doesn't try to drive through the front and come in with 5 or 6 guys." "That's what shotguns are for," Matthew quipped as he worked to upload the videos. "Well, let's finish setting up the cots and see who's going to take which watch." "I'll stay up till about 2. There's no way I'm going to be able to sleep now," Matthew said. All right. All right. What the heck? Okay. Just checking a text from my daughter. Hang on, I better reply back on that. Hang on, I got to get this message to my daughter here. All right. So here we were. With the Humvee, Dodge 1-ton, and Ford F. Gotta put that. Okay, I want to check something out here. Yeah, gotta fix these. Gotta get it done right here. So. There we go. All right. With the Humvee, Dodge, and Dodge 110 and F450 parked in front of the garage doors, and the 6x6 parked alongside the garage in front of the side door, the garage and all their supplies were fairly secure. Max, Bill, and Patricia, and Mike had gone home. Hang on a second here. Oops, what's this? All right. All right. Hang on. Someone here with Control F. I'm just checking something real quick. All right, it did not list Mike's. Hang on, I got to bring something up here again to look at it here. All right. Brett, Pauline, okay. Control C. Go ahead and drop that down. Control V. Yeah, Pauline is there. So let me go down here and after that, got yeah, all right. Because Pauline was there and she would go home with her husband, so I'll make sure that's in there. Hit the correct. Okay, I gone home. Mark opted for the couch in the den because he could hear anyone trying to get into the garage from there. Phalen was in the master bedroom, and the other three rooms were given to Gary, Lisa, and Jenny. Jenny had borrowed a pair of cotton pajamas from Phalen because they never did get a chance to stop by and pick up a change of clothes for her. She said her clothes were sweaty and smelled, so she asked for pajamas so she could take a shower and wash her clothes. When she came out of the shower, she heard the TV on in Phalen's bedroom. She walked to the door and stopped, taking a deep breath. And taking a deep breath to gather her courage, she knocked gently on the door. "Come in, Jenny." Phalen's voice came from inside the room. She opened the door and stepped in and close behind her. "How'd you know it was me?" Phalen was sitting on the foot of the bed. He looked over and smiled. That was simple. Mark would make the stairs creak when he came up. Gary makes a racket when he walks. Lisa would never come to my room. Your room to girl talk. to talk girl talk. Yes, mine, no. So it had to be you. Besides, I was expecting you because we didn't get a chance to finish our conversation. When we got here, and I get the feeling you don't like to leave. You don't like to leave this hanging. She walked over and sat down on the bed next to him. No, I don't. Then took a quick breath and sighed. But things are moving so fast with us, she added very quickly, which isn't a bad thing. It's just the end of the world possibility that has me shaken. I feel like there is this connection. I felt that there was this connection at Fuddruckers before we found out about it, and now I'm not so sure that the feeling has grown because of the looming disaster or because we are made for each other. She sighed and fell silent. Fell silent. There we go. Phalen waited a bit and spoke. Think back to what you were saying at Fuddruckers and what you felt. She turned and looked at him, unsure what he was talking about. Just close your eyes and try to remember what we were talking about and the things you let slip out. Think about those. Do you remember? She smiled. Yes, I do. I mean, I remember. Remembering those thoughts and feelings, what do you want? She opened her eyes and turned to face him. If we survive the next 4 weeks, I want to marry you. This time she pulled him to her and kissed him as they fell off the bed onto the plush carpet. They busted up giggling and continued to kiss. Gary and Lisa were sitting. We're still sitting at the breakfast bar in the kitchen, having a private conversation for the first time in years. And I thought first time ever. Yeah. They were taking turns asking and answering each other's questions. He was explaining to her his side. Hang on here. His side of what happened between her mother and him. And for the first time in her life, she saw her father crying. She looked down at the cup of hot chocolate in her hands and started to cry too. She realized that her mother was, hang on. And her mother was the cause of all their problems. As she thought about everything her mother had done, the different men she'd brought home, the nights and days she spent out, Lisa came to the conclusion that her mother was a slut and truly the root of all her misgivings. These people, friends of her father, were real people. They cared about others and what was going on in the world, not just about themselves. She also saw her father's dating many women as his reaction to what her mother was doing. And somewhere deep down, after all her mother had put him through, he still loved the woman he married, even if she didn't exist anymore. Now she was beginning to understand her father and what he had gone through, and she wanted to know more about his life and his friends. For the next couple hours, they talked. He told her all about work, what he did, his friends in the group, the property at the lake, what they were trying to do there, his fears for the country and for her future. He told her about the families and why they were asked to join the group, the makeup of the groups, their ages, how many were retired, how many children in their ages. She was happy to hear there were several teenagers, and a couple of them sounded like they might hit it off. At the same time, she began to open up to her father and at the same time to herself for the first time. As she talked, she took assessment of her life and reevaluated what she wanted and needed to do. She realized it was time to become a country girl. It was almost 2 o'clock, and Matthew was just starting to feel a little bit sleepy, and he thought that now it would be a good time to wake Dave. And he got up from the desk and was turning to leave when some movement on the CCTV monitor caught his eye. Another vehicle was coming down the alley. No, coming down the back alleyway. He quickly ran to Dave and his dad and woke him up. Dad, Uncle Dave, wake up. We got somebody out back again. Oh, what? Robert said groggily. Who? What'd you say? Dave said as he rolled stiffly from the cot. We got somebody out back again, Matthew said, and he took off running to go back to the office. Matthew was scanning through the CCTV cameras on the multiplexes to see where the vehicle was. He expected to see it parked by the back door, but it wasn't there. Then he saw it. It was still up the alleyway, a couple 100 feet away, blocking it. But he saw 2 figures working their way down to the back door. They inching the way closer, trying not to set off any motion detectors in the alleyway, which there were, but they weren't working. The building owners got tired of complaints from the neighbors about lights coming on every time someone used the alleyway as a shortcut. At night, which was quite often, Dave rushed into his office with Robert hot on his heels. Where are they? He asked, catching his breath. There's 2 of them coming down the alleyway, but they've stopped 2 doors up. Isn't that the Cash for Gold place? Yes, it is, Dave said as he picked up the phone and called 911. After about 8 rings, the dispatcher finally answered. This is Dave at S&S Firearms on South Priest Drive. There are 2 people trying to break into the Cash for Gold exchange 2 doors up from me. Hang on. Dispatcher clarifies the location. Yes, I'm in my store now with my brother and nephew. No, I don't know if there's anybody in exchange right now. No, they haven't made their way to us yet, but we did scare off 3 guys about 10 o'clock. They're in, Matthew pointed out. They just got into the exchange. Okay, we'll keep watching them on the CCTV. Bye. She said they would send a unit as soon as one came free. Look, Robert said excitedly. There are 3 more of them coming down the alleyway now, and the truck is backing up the alleyway. It was so dark and the truck was at the far end of the alleyway that all they could tell before was its silhouette, not which way it was facing. Now, as it backed up, they could barely make out that the taillights were covered with something blocking most of the light from them. The other 3 burglars hurried into the Cash for Gold exchange as the truck backed up slowly down the alley. When the truck stopped at the open door to the exchange, 2 figures ran out carrying something that looked like boxes and put them in the back of the truck. The truck was close enough for them to tell that it was a UPS truck, a UPS delivery truck. The 2 figures sorry. Time for more cough drops. The truck was close enough until it was a UPS delivery truck. The two figures ran back in as two more came out. This continued for several minutes. Doesn't the exchange have a burglar alarm? Matthew asked. It did. Whether they bypassed it or it is broken, I can't tell, Dave said in disgust as he shook his head. Suddenly, two of the figures started working their way down the alleyway after they put their last load in the truck. The others kept hauling their ill-gotten booty to the truck. They were moving a bit slower, a sign that they were getting tired from the heavy items they were stealing. The two working their way down the alleyway didn't stop at the hair salon next door, but came straight to the gun store's door. One of them knelt down, and they could hear him trying to get in the back door. Dave reached over and flipped on the manual floodlights in the alleyway. The one working on the door lock stood up and started to run when the other one yelled that it was just a motion controlled lights. You get back here and work on the light. Dave reached over to the PA microphone when Matthew stopped him and held up 3 M80 fireworks. The alternator had installed a speakeasy-style sliding gun port. They quickly moved to the door. Robert pulled out the Zippo he always carried, even though he never smoked, and lit it. Matthew gently started sliding the gun port cover. Started to slide the gun port cover. It was slightly stiff, but moved quietly. Satisfied he could open and close it quickly, he stuck one of the M80 fuses into the Zippo's flame. The fuse began to sputter, and Matthew watched it intently as he gauged the speed at which it was burning. He figured he had about three quarters of a second left. He quickly opened the gun port and flicked the M80 out. He immediately lit the other ones. The other ones in his other hand, tossed them out too. The first M80 exploded before it made it halfway to the ground. The flash blinded the two burglars, and the concussion ruptured the left ear of the one picking the lock on the door. He fell to the ground screaming, and the other one staggered as he had his hands over his ears. Then the other two went off, adding to their pain. The second one dropped to his knees. The driver of the truck, thinking his partners had been shot, started to drive off. One of the 3 burglars coming out of the exchange saw the two outside the gun shop were on the ground and looked like they were going to be caught. Pulled out a Heckler & Koch MP7A2 and put all 30 rounds into his partners and dove into the back of the truck. Holy crap! Hang on, exclaimed Dave from the office. He had moved back there to watch the CCTV cameras to see what happened when the M80s went off. They shot their partners. What? Robert said in disbelief. There goes the cops after the truck, Dave said, and here comes the patrol car down the alleyway. And there's one out front. Matthew reached over to the CCTV recorder to eject the DVD, but realized that he forgot to put it back in after he uploaded the earlier guys on YouTube. Well, that's lucky, he sighed. What? I forgot to put the DVD back in the recorder, so there's no footage of where the M80s came from. 2 hours later, the police had removed the bodies of the 2 dead burglars and had taken all 3 of their statements. The police informed them that they caught the other burglars, but they decided to have a shootout with the police, and all the burglars were killed. They considered the case closed. Yes, Oliver?
I'm hungry.
Well, you have to wait, okay? And they considered the case closed. And we're down to chapter 3. So I'm just going to go ahead and give this a short little, come on, give me there it is. Highlight. All right, so we'll start at chapter 3 tomorrow morning. And hang on, let me hit save and bring me down here. All right, so yeah, for tomorrow, we'll start that tomorrow morning. Today is Thursday, right? Yeah. So tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern is the Midnight Ride here on Gray Man Prepping. We'll start tomorrow at the same time, noon Mountain Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Tomorrow night on Camp Patton Family Compound, my other channel, the topic is you might be a homesteader if, and we were looking for all sorts of ifs for you guys to give us. Funny things that it would be, to tell someone's actually a homesteader even though they don't think they are one. All right. So, Saturday morning, the editing will start at 10 a.m. Eastern, maybe 9. We'll see how things go tomorrow and what's going on. Tomorrow, Saturday, at 3 p.m. Eastern, I'll do the live stream with Shadow Scout Swede and Survivalist and World Survivalist. And then Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, after the event topic is after the Mississippi River fault shifts, what are your plans? And let me see what I got scheduled for Monday. Monday on Camp Patton Family Compound is honey and food preservation. And on Tactical Tuesday here on Gray Man Prepping, riots. What are your plans? All right, folks. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. And we'll see you tonight, hopefully, at 10 p.m. Eastern for the Midnight Ride. All right, folks. Take care.